The internet is alive with the sound of Orville Season 4 getting officially announced. But is it true? What's actually going on? And what is the likelihood that we're going to be getting another season of the Orville? Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. Well, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. No, there has not been an official announcement from Hulu, or Disney in fact, about a new season of the Orville. Hey, an official announcement from Fuzzy Door Productions, Seth McFarland's production company, would do. What we've actually had is Malloy, Scott Grimes, from the Orville, has been at a New York Comic-Con at the weekend. And during conversations at that Comic-Con, he told people that yes, the Orville Season 4 is going into production in January 2025. Now, a lot of people have got extremely excited about that because, yeah, that sounds pretty official, right? This is an actor he would know. And I'm not going to say that Scott Grimes was wrong or lying, but no, this isn't an official announcement. And I've spoken to a couple of people in the industry, as we get to speak to here on SciTrek, and they're telling me that this might be a little bit preemptive. Right, so where are we actually at with the Orville? Now, I've been telling you guys for 18 months that Hulu are not too sure about doing season 4 of the Orville, but Disney are very, very keen. They really like Seth MacFarlane. They have a long relationship with him through Fox, and they are very keen to keep him within the Disney family. Doing the Orville is a very easy way to do that. Now, Seth MacFarlane has been doing lots and lots of other projects with Universal and Peacock, and he's got several big projects coming up, including a couple of movies that he's executive producing, writing, etc. So his schedule has been a little full. Now, Hulu, about 18 months ago, we reported here first and exclusively, Hulu were not actually keen to move forwards with season 4 of the Orville. They were basically saying that, look, we need to have more than a season every 3 years, and we need to decrease the budget. These problems have been sort of kicked around now for quite a while. It does look like, and I did tell you again back in April, that there was some really positive movements and positive steps forward with us getting an Orville Season 4. Now, this did require Seth MacFarlane to reassure Hulu and Disney about these couple of points, about how do we get the series a little bit more often, and negotiating with Fuzzy Door Productions about decreasing that budget slightly. Why would we decrease the budget? Well, New Horizons did have a decent budget. It was up there. I mean, Seth MacFarlane talks about this and other producers, etc. But it never quite met expectations. Now, it didn't bomb by any stretch of the imagination. It did really well and has always had really good viewing figures. But it's never quite reached the heights that it needed to warrant the budget it was being given. Now, what I'm being told is that about a 20% cut in the budget would be sufficient, and that would get to sort of the expectations and levels expected with the fan base. Now, the Orville has a really strong, almost cult-like fan base, but there was always an expectation that because of Seth MacFarlane's name, it would go higher than it has. I actually think that a season 4 with a slight decrease in budget is a sensible way to go. And with CGI getting cheaper and cheaper every year, there's still a really good chance we'll get something still visually really stunning. They might require maybe a few less actors on set. Maybe, look, we'll bring in other writers to support you. We could maybe even bring in other actors to maybe take a little bit more of a lead. Now, I actually love Seth MacFarlane. I think he's great in everything he does. But let's be honest, he's not the greatest actor on the planet. He isn't really a very commanding actor. He's not, you know, a William Shatner in Star Trek, or Patrick Stewart in Enterprise, and in Star Trek The Next Generation, or anything like that. He doesn't have that sort of commanding presence. I actually think this is one of those rare occasions where the main actor from a series could leave, or just not be around as much, and actually somebody else could come in and actually could propel the show to a different level. I think about Babylon 5. In the first season we had Sinclair, a great actor, and I really liked him, but he didn't quite fit. We then had Bruce Broxletner, come in. If you're a regular SciTrek, you'll know I love names. I never have a problem with them. Bruce Broxletner came in as Sheridan, and the show really did go to another level. He had a little bit more of a commanding presence. He felt more like the role fit him, and he was just able to carry the show a little bit easier on his shoulders. I do wonder if the Orville needs that, whether it needs maybe a new leading man or woman. Now, I was actually told very early on that Adriana Palicki's character of Grayson would probably be promoted to captain, and she would really take over the lead. And Seth MacFarlane's character of Mercer would probably be promoted to an admiral, and he would still be around, but just not as much, so it could fit in with Seth's ever-increasing calendar of just insanity. That it would allow him to still appear in the show, but in a more sensible way. Now, since then, Adriana Palicki has very publicly come out and said that actually she's done 3 series and that'll do her, and that she's probably not going to come back, and it is mainly because of money. That they're contracted to this show, it stops them from doing lots of other projects, and they simply cannot afford as actors to do this few amount of episodes, this with such a big gap in between. And I can understand that. Actors want to work, and they really want to do this project, and they do said, and even she says, they do feel like a family on set. She was actually in a relationship with Scott Grimes for a couple of years before they separated. This is a cast and a crew that really get on and are really together. But you can't have 3 years between seasons. And look, at the end of the day, and I know I've talked about this in other videos, but at the end of the day, there's a core audience of the Orville that will wait. But 2/3 of the audience is more casual viewership. They won't. They will forget about the Orville, and they just won't come back when the 4th season happens. They need to have a little bit more regularity. But also Hulu are looking at the Orville and going, this is a great franchise possibility. We want spin-offs and things. And if Seth MacFarlane refuses to let go of the reins, that's just never going to happen. So, basically, Scott Grimes has talked about this going into production in January, and that will probably be pre-production, so there'll be 6 months of writing and building sets and things before they ever start filming. I actually think what's happened here is that there genuinely are conversations, and that is what they're aiming for, but I don't think it's final just yet. We would have had an official announcement if so. I actually suspect people at Hulu are probably not particularly happy with Mr. Grimes at the moment, but this might just provoke them to actually get that official announcement out. Until Seth MacFarlane, and at the point of recording he hasn't, but unless Seth MacFarlane actually tweets out that yes, this is happening and yes, it's happening in January, I don't think that we can assume anything. And I think this is, as I said, penciled in, but I don't think we've had the final agreement just yet. So no, there is no official announcement at the time of recording regarding the Orville. But I actually do think it is going to happen. I would say I'm like 90% sure it's going to happen, and that we will get an announcement soon. But I said that back in April, and we're still waiting. So, fingers crossed for January. I cannot wait for a new series of the Orville. I want to see something a bit more like season 1 and 2, maybe not so much like New Horizons, which I found a little bit more difficult. But if they can bring a bit more of that humour back in, yeah, this is my favourite Star Trek and not Star Trek show on TV at the moment, and I really, really hope they do something very cool with it. But guys, get into the comments, tell me what you think. Is a new season of the Orville something you're excited about? Or, I know a lot of people really struggled with it. Tell me what you think. Get into the comments. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, it really helps us out. But more importantly, go over to patreon.com/SciTrek, where most of our new videos do premiere first, and you get to see them first. All of this news and all of these things that we drop exclusive, you get to know before anyone else. Also, don't forget, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.